Title: No one enters human space, and lives to tell it. Out in the far edges of the galaxy, where stars looked faint in space, felt colder than usual, there was a line. It was not marked on any map. It had no color, no shape, no signal. But everyone knew it was there, and everyone knew one rule. No one enters human space. The small scout ship Virex 9 moved slowly through the dark. Its silver body reflected distant stars, and its engines made a low, steady hum. Inside, 5 crew members sat at their stations. Their eyes stayed fixed on the front screen, where nothing but empty space could be seen. Captain Rail stood behind them, quiet and still. He had heard the stories before. Every captain had. Strange ships that went missing. Fleets that never returned. Signals that ended in silence. Some said humans had built a weapon no one could see. Others said human space itself was alive. Rail did not believe in stories. Distance to boundary, he asked. Less than 1 minute. The navigator replied. No one spoke after that. The silence inside the ship felt heavier now. One of the crew members, Lyra, looked nervous. Her fingers moved fast over the control panel. Captain, she said softly, there are no signals ahead. No traffic. No signs of life. Rail gave a small nod. That means nothing. But it should mean something, she said. Every major system has signals. Even dead zones have noise. This is too quiet. Rail stepped closer to the main screen. He looked at the empty space ahead. It looked normal. Too normal. Scan again, he ordered. The ship sent out a deep scan pulse. Waves of data moved outward, searching for anything. Ships, stations, debris, even radiation. The result came back in seconds. Nothing. No ships. No stations. No energy. No life. Just empty space. One of the engineers let out a small laugh. So this is human space, he said. Looks like nothing. Another crew member nodded. Maybe the stories are wrong. Lyra did not laugh. She kept staring at the data. Captain, I don't like this. Rail looked at her. You are afraid of shadows. No, she said. I am afraid of silence. Rail turned back to the front. The boundary was close now. Prepare to cross, he said. The room went quiet again. The navigator hesitated. Captain, command only asked for observation. And we are observing, Rail replied. From inside. But that is an order. The ship moved forward. Slow. Steady. The invisible line came closer. And then, they crossed it. At first, nothing changed. The stars looked the same. The space looked the same. The ship continued moving. 1 second passed. Then 2. Then, the lights flickered. Just once. Everyone froze. What was that? One of them whispered. Power fluctuation. The engineer said quickly. Minor. But his voice did not sound sure. The lights flickered again. This time longer. The hum of the engines dropped for a moment, then came back. Run diagnostics, Rail said. Already running, the engineer replied. Systems are stable. Stable, Lyra said. That was not stable. The main screen glitched for a second. Lines of static appeared, then vanished. Sensor check, Rail ordered. The navigator looked at his panel. His face changed. Captain, sensors are not responding correctly. What do you mean? They are on, but they are not reading anything. Rail stepped forward. Show me. The data screen came up. It showed empty space, but not normal empty space. It showed nothing. No background radiation. No distant signals. Not even noise. It was like the sensors were looking into a void. That's not possible, the engineer said. There is always something. Reset them, Rail said. They tried. Again and again. Nothing changed. Lyra's breathing became faster. This is wrong, she said. This is very wrong. Stay focused, Rail replied. We continue. The ship moved deeper. The silence grew. Then, the communication system made a soft sound. A small click. Everyone looked at it. Did you hear that? One crew member asked. Yes, Lyra said. Incoming signal. The communication panel lit up for a moment, then went dark. No message, the operator said. Just noise. Play it, Rail said. The operator replayed the signal. At first, it sounded like static. Then something else. A low sound. Almost like a voice. Broken. Distant. Turn back. The room went silent. No one moved. Play that again, Rail said. They did. This time, The sound was weaker. Back. Then nothing. The signal ended. That sounded like a warning, one crew member said. Or a trick, another replied. Rail said nothing. He looked at the screen again. Still empty. Still quiet. Continue forward, he said. Lyra turned to him. Captain, please. We are not turning back because of noise, he said. She lowered her eyes. The ship moved on. Seconds passed. Then, the temperature inside the ship dropped. Just a little, but enough to feel. Why is it getting cold? Someone asked. Life support is normal, the engineer said. Then why? The lights went out. Complete darkness. For 1 second, 2 seconds, 3. Then they came back, but dimmer, much dimmer. Emergency lights are on, the system voice said. Why? Rail demanded. No system failure detected, the engineer replied. I don't understand. The hum of the engines changed. It became uneven, like something was interfering. Captain, the navigator said slowly. Our speed is dropping. Corrected. I can't. Controls are not responding fully. Rail grabbed the console. Manual override. He tried. Nothing. The ship did not listen. Lyra whispered. It's not our ship anymore. Rail ignored her. Full power to engines. The system did not respond. Then, the main screen changed. Not a glitch. Not static. Something new. Something real. A shape appeared. Far ahead. At first, it looked like a shadow. Then it became clearer. It was massive. Bigger than any ship they had ever seen. But it did not move. It did not shine. It had no lights. No engines. No heat. No signal. It just existed. What is that? Someone whispered. No readings, the navigator said. No data at all. That's impossible, the engineer said. Everything gives data. But this doesn't, Lyra said quietly. The ship slowed down more. The object grew larger on the screen. Still silent. Still watching. Rail stared at it. For the first time, he felt something he had not felt before. Doubt. Scan it, he said. They tried. Nothing. The scanners returned the same result. Void. It's like it's not there, the navigator said. But we can see it, Lyra replied. The communication system clicked again. This time louder. The screen flickered. Then, words appeared. Clear. Sharp. On every screen. You were warned. No one spoke. No one moved. The message stayed for a few seconds, then disappeared. The object ahead did not move. But something changed. The darkness around it shifted. Slow. Silent. Like space itself was waking up. Lyra whispered, Captain, we need to leave. Now. Rail opened his mouth, but before he could speak, the engines stopped. Completely. The ship drifted. Helpless. The lights dimmed again. The temperature dropped further. And outside, the massive shape moved. Just a little. But enough. Enough to show that it was not dead. Not empty. Not harmless. The crew watched in fear. And in that moment, they understood one thing. The stories were not stories. They were warnings. And they were too late. The last thing the crew of Virex 9 saw was not a ship. And then, everything went dark. Darkness did not feel empty. It felt close. When the lights went out inside Virex 9, the crew did not just lose vision. They lost something deeper. Sound felt slow. Breathing felt loud. Even their thoughts felt heavy, like the air had changed. Then, without warning, the lights came back. Dim. Cold. Flickering. Captain Rail stood still, one hand on the console. His eyes moved across the room, checking each crew member. Everyone was alive, but no one spoke. Outside the front screen, the massive shape was still there. Closer now. Too close. It filled most of the view, blocking stars behind it. It had no clear form, no edges, no lights, just a dark mass that seemed to absorb everything around it. Status, Rail said. His voice sounded different, softer, as if the ship itself was lowering it. The engineer, Torin, checked his panel. His hands were shaking. Power is unstable, he said. Systems are online, but they are not responding right. What does that mean? Rail asked. It means the ship is not listening. The navigator tried to adjust course again. Nothing happened. We are drifting, he said. No control. Lyra leaned closer to her screen. Captain, the object had moved. Everyone looked up. The shape outside did not look like it had moved. It was still silent, still heavy in space. But something felt different. It didn't move fast, Lyra said. It shifted, like it changed position without crossing space. That makes no sense, Torrent said. Nothing here makes sense, she replied. The communication panel clicked again, louder this time, sharp, like something was trying to force its way through. The operator quickly opened the channel. Unknown signal detected, he said, but it's not coming from outside. Rail stepped forward. Then where? The operator swallowed. From inside the ship. The room went cold. That's impossible, Torrent said. No internal source is active. The panel flickered. Static filled the speakers. Then, a voice. Broken. Slow. You crossed. The sound stretched, like it was pulled apart. Line. Lyra covered her mouth. That's not a transmission, she whispered. That's something else. Trace it. Rail ordered. I'm trying, the operator said, but there's no origin point. It's everywhere and nowhere. The voice came again. Stronger. Turn back. Then silence. The system shut itself down. No one touched anything. For a moment, the ship felt like it was holding its breath. Rail turned to the screen again. The object was closer. Too close now. Its surface looked wrong. Not metal. Not stone. It looked like moving darkness. Like shadows flowing over each other. Scan again, Rail said. Torrent shook his head. We've tried. There is nothing to read. Then explain what we are looking at. I can't. The temperature dropped again. This time, the crew could see their breath. Life support. Rail asked. Still normal, Torrent replied, confused. It says everything is fine. But it's not, Lyra said. The lights flickered. Again and again. Each time, the darkness lasted a little longer. The navigator looked at his screen. Captain, stars are gone. What? They are not visible anymore. Everyone turned to the main screen. He was right. The stars behind the object had disappeared. But not just behind it. All of them. The entire background was dark. Not space dark. Empty dark. Like the universe had been erased. That's not possible, Torrent whispered. Rail stepped closer to the glass. This is not space anymore, he said quietly. Lyra shook her head. No, this is controlled space. Rail looked at her. What do you mean? She hesitated, then spoke. I studied human patterns. Old data. Lost ships. Strange signals. There was a theory. What theory? That humans don't defend space. They control it. Silence. No, Torrent said. That's not possible. No species can control space itself. But what if they can? Lyra said. What if this is not a ship, but a system? Rail looked back at the object. It did not feel like a ship. It felt like something else. Something bigger. The communication panel turned on again. This time without a sound. The screen lit up. Text appeared. Not broken. Not weak. Clear. You were warned. It stayed for a few seconds. Then changed. You did not listen. The crew stared at it. No one dared to speak. Then, the lights went out again. This time longer. 5 seconds. 10 seconds. In the darkness, someone moved. A soft sound. A step. Who's there? Torrent asked. No answer. The lights came back. Dim. Lyra looked to her left. Her breath stopped. One of us is missing, she said. Rail turned quickly. She was right. The communication operator was gone. His chair was empty. His panel still active. What? Torrent said. He was right there. No door had opened. No sound had been heard. He was just gone. Rail's voice became sharp. Search the ship. Now. They moved fast. Room to room. Hallways. Storage. Every corner. Nothing. No sign. No trace. It was like he had never been there. They returned to the main room. The silence was heavier now. This is not possible, Torrent said again, but his voice was weak. Lyra looked at the screen. The object was closer. It was almost touching them, but still no contact. Still no signal. Just presence. Rail clenched his jaw. We are leaving. He moved to the controls. Manual override. Emergency power. Nothing. The ship did not respond. We are not in control, Lyra said. I don't care, Rail replied. We are leaving. He hit the controls again. Still nothing. The communication panel lit up once more. This time no voice. No static. Just text. Leaving is not permitted. Torrance stepped back. That's not a warning, he said. That's a rule, Lyra replied. The ship shook. Soft, but clear. Something outside had changed. The object moved again. Closer. The darkness around it spread. Like ink in water. Slow. Silent. Taking space. The walls of the ship made a low sound. Like pressure building. Captain, the navigator said. Hull integrity is dropping. But nothing is touching us. Torrance said. It doesn't need to. Lyra whispered. The temperature dropped again. Now it was freezing. Breath turned to mist. Hands began to shake. The lights flickered faster. On, off, on, off. Each time, the darkness felt longer. In one of those moments, something moved. Inside the room. A shadow. Not from a person. Not from light. Something else. Rail saw it. Just for a second. Behind Lyra. Then it was gone. Did you see that? He asked. Lyra turned. See what? Rail did not answer. Because he was not sure. The communication panel made one last sound. A deep tone. Then, a voice. Clear. Calm. Human. You were told not to enter. The crew froze. The voice was not broken. Not weak. It was controlled. Strong. And close. Too close. Who are you? Rail demanded. Silence. Then the voice again. You crossed the line. Rail stepped forward. Identify yourself. No answer. Only one final sentence. We do not allow entry. The screen went dark. The object outside stopped moving. Everything stopped. The ship, the sound, the air. For 1 second, everything felt still. Then, the walls began to disappear. Not break, not explode. Disappear. Like they were being erased. The crew stared in shock. Piece by piece, reality around them started to fade. The ship was no longer safe. No longer real. And outside, the darkness was no longer outside. It was coming in. And this time, there was no warning. The walls did not break. They faded. One panel at a time. The metal of Virex 9 lost its shape. It did not bend or crack. It simply stopped existing, as if someone had erased it from the world. The crew stepped back. No one spoke. Cold air rushed in from the empty space, where the wall had been. But it was not normal space. It felt thick, heavy wrong. Captain Rail held onto the console to stay steady. His eyes stayed fixed on the opening. What is happening to this ship? Torrance whispered. Lyra shook her head slowly. This is not damage. This is control. Rail turned to her. Explain. She took a breath, trying to stay calm. This is not an attack like we know, she said. They are not using weapons. They are changing the space around us. That's not possible, Torrance said again, but his voice had lost strength. Lyra looked at him. Then tell me what this is. He had no answer. Outside the fading wall, the massive dark shape still waited. But now it looked different. Not closer, not larger, just more real. As if the ship was becoming less real instead. The navigator stepped back from his panel. Captain, navigation is gone, he said. There is no map, no stars, no direction. Rail looked at the main screen. It showed nothing. No space, no objects, no background, just a flat darkness. Even the stars are gone, Lyra said quietly. They didn't hide them, they removed them. The ship shook again. Soft, like something touched it, but no impact followed. Just a feeling. The engineer checked the systems. Power levels are still showing, but they don't match reality, he said. It says we have full power, but nothing works. Because it's not real power anymore, Lyra said. It's just data. Rail clenched his fist. Then what is real? He asked. No one answered. The communication panel flickered. The human voice did not return. Instead, the ship's main display changed. New images appeared, not from the ship's cameras. Something else. Old recordings. Different ships. Different crews. All entering the same dark boundary. All confident. All calm. Rail stepped closer. What is this? Data logs, Lyra said. Not ours. The first image showed a large warship. Strong. Armed. Its crew stood ready. The screen jumped forward. The same warship drifting. Silent. Empty. No crew. No damage. Just abandoned. The next image appeared. A group of small trade vessels. Moving together. Laughing. Talking. Then static. Then silence. Then empty space. No ships. Gone. More images followed. Different species. Different designs. Same result. Every ship that entered never returned. Torrance stared at the screen. This is a record, he said. Of what? Rail asked. Of failure, Lyra replied. The images stopped. The screen went dark again. Then one line appeared. All who enter are removed. Rail read it slowly. Removed, he repeated. Not destroyed, Lyra said. Not attacked. Removed. That's worse, Torrance whispered. The ship shook harder this time. The floor beneath them felt unstable, like it was losing form. Captain, we are losing structure, the navigator said. Sections of the ship are missing. Rail turned around. Parts of the hallway behind them had vanished. Not broken. Gone. The ship was becoming smaller. Not by damage. By deletion. Seal all sections. Rail ordered. No response. Torrance said. The system is not ours anymore. Lyra looked at the fading walls. They are not breaking in, she said. They are rewriting the space we are in. Rail looked at her again. Rewriting. Yes, she said. Think of it like this. Our ship exists because space allows it. If they control space, they control us. Torrance shook his head. That means we were never in control. Lyra did not reply, because she knew he was right. The communication panel lit up again. This time, it showed something new. Coordinates. Moving. Changing. But not like normal navigation. These were not directions. They were positions being removed. One by one, parts of the ship matched the coordinates, and then disappeared. Captain, it's mapping us, the navigator said, and deleting us. Lyra added. Rail stepped forward. Stop it, he said. No response. He hit the panel. Nothing changed. The ship lost another section. A loud silence followed. Then, a sound, not from outside, from inside. Footsteps. Slow. Heavy. Rail turned. The others did too. The hallway behind them was half gone. Dark. Empty. But something moved inside it. A shape. Tall. Still. Watching. Who's there? Rail called out. No answer. The shape did not move closer, but it did not disappear either. It stayed at the edge of what remained. Lyra's voice dropped. That's not a shadow. Torrance took a step back. Then what is it? No one knew. The lights flickered again. On. Off. On. Each time they turned off, the shape looked closer, but no one saw it move. The navigator whispered. It's inside the ship. Rail kept his eyes on it. Hold position, he said. Position, Torrance said. We don't even have a ship anymore. Rail ignored him. The shape tilted slightly. Not like a person, like something trying to understand. Then, the communication system activated, but not on the screen. Inside their heads, the voice came again. Clear, calm, human, you do not understand. The crew froze. They did not hear it with their ears. They felt it. Inside, Rail spoke carefully, then explained. A pause. Then, you entered controlled space. Lyra's eyes widened. Controlled space. The voice continued. This region is managed. Managed, Torrance said. By what? No answer. Then, you are not being attacked. Rail's face tightened. Then what is this? A longer pause. Then, you are being corrected. The words hit harder than any weapon. Corrected, Lyra repeated. Yes, the ship lost another section. Closer now. The room itself was shrinking. You do not belong here, the voice said. Then send us back. Rail replied. Silence. Then, return is not permitted. The shape in the hallway moved again. Closer. Now visible. Not fully, but enough. It was not a creature. Not exactly. It had form, but no detail. Like a figure made of darkness itself. Watching. Always watching. Torrance stepped back again. That thing is that human. Lyra shook her head slowly. No, that's something else. Rail kept his focus. If this is your space, he said, then why not just destroy us? The answer came instantly. Destruction creates signals. The crew did not understand, but Lyra did. They don't want noise, she whispered. They want silence. The voice continued. Silence maintains order. Rail looked around. The ship, the missing crew member, the erased sections. This is not order, he said. This is control. No reply came. The voice was gone again. The shape in the hallway stopped moving. The ship lost another section. Now the main room was half its size. The crew stood close together. No escape. No control. No understanding. Lyra closed her eyes for a moment. Then she spoke. "They are not defending," she said. "They are managing." Rail looked at her. "What's the difference?" She opened her eyes. "Defense reacts." She pointed at the darkness outside. This was already waiting. Torrin swallowed. "That means they expected us," she said. Silence filled the room. Heavy, cold, final. The shape stepped fully into view. Closer now. Still silent. Still watching. And for the first time, the crew understood. This was not a place. This was a system. And they were already inside it, with no way out. The room kept getting smaller. Not because walls moved. Because parts of the ship were simply gone. Captain Rail stood in the center, breathing slowly, forcing control over his fear. Around him, the remaining crew stayed close. There was no space left for distance. No space left for comfort. Only cold. Only silence. And the shape. It stood near the broken hallway, now fully inside what remained of Virex 9. It did not rush. It did not attack. It just existed, watching, always watching. Torrin stepped back again until his shoulder touched the wall behind him. "It's getting closer," he whispered. "It's not moving fast," Lyra said, her eyes locked on it. "But it doesn't need to." Rail did not look away from the figure. "Stay together," he said. "No one moves alone." The navigator nodded quickly. His hands were shaking. "We should try the escape pod," he said. "It might still work." Torrin looked at him like he had said something stupid. "You saw what happened to the walls," he said. "You think a pod will survive out there?" "We don't have a choice," the navigator snapped. "We can't just stand here and wait to disappear." Rail raised his hand. Enough. The argument stopped, but the fear did not. The ship shook again, harder this time. A deep sound echoed through the metal, like something was pressing against reality itself. The lights flickered again. On, off, on. Each time they came back, the shape looked closer. Still no footsteps. Still no sound. Just closer. The navigator broke first. "I'm not staying here," he said, backing toward the side door. "I'm not waiting for this thing to erase me." "Stop," Rail said, but he didn't. The navigator ran. Fast. He reached the side corridor, the part of the ship that still existed, and disappeared around the corner. "No," Torrin shouted. Lyra closed her eyes. "Too late," she whispered. They heard the sound. A door opening. A rush of air. Then silence. No explosion. No scream. Nothing. Just silence. The crew looked at each other. No one needed to say it. He was gone. The shape did not react. It just stood there, watching. Rail clenched his jaw. "One by one," he said quietly. "That's how this works." Torrin shook his head. No, this isn't real. This is not real." He hit the wall with his fist. The wall flickered. For a moment, his hand passed through it. Then it came back, solid again. Torrin stepped back quickly. "Did you see that?" he said. "The wall wasn't there." "Nothing is stable anymore," Lyra said. "We are not in normal space." "Then where are we?" Torrin asked. Lyra did not answer, because she did not know. The communication panel lit up again. No sound, just words. "You continue to resist." Rail looked at it. "We are trying to survive," he said. The screen changed. "Survival is not your function here." Torrin laughed weakly. "Function," he said. "We're not machines." The message changed again. "You are unauthorized presence." Rail stepped forward. "And what happens to unauthorized presence?" he asked. The answer came slowly. "It is removed." The screen went dark. The shape moved again. Closer. Now only a few steps away. The crew could see it clearly, but not clearly enough. It had a form, like a person, but no face, no eyes, no detail. Just a dark outline that seemed to absorb light. Lyra whispered, "It's not human." Rail spoke quietly, but it follows human rules. The temperature dropped again. Now it was hard to breathe. The air felt thick, heavy. Torrin grabbed his chest. "I can't breathe properly." "Stay calm," Rail said, but even he felt it. The pressure, the weight, like the space itself was closing around them. The lights flickered again, longer this time. In the darkness, something moved. Not just the shape, something else. Multiple shadows. Faint. Around them. Then the lights came back. Nothing there. But the feeling remained. We are not alone, Lyra said. No, Rail replied. We are not. The ship shook again. Another section vanished. Now the main room was barely holding together. One wrong step, and there would be nothing beneath them. Torin looked toward the escape pod corridor. I'm going, he said. Rail grabbed his arm. No, we can't stay. Torin said. You saw what happened to him. But maybe. There is no maybe, Lyra said sharply. He didn't escape, she continued. He was erased. Torin pulled his arm away. I don't care, he shouted. I'm not waiting for this thing to take me. He ran, just like the navigator, toward the escape pod. Stop, Rail shouted. But again, too late. They heard the door open. A loud sound this time. Then, nothing. No pod launch. No signal. No movement. Just silence. Rail closed his eyes for a second. Gone, he said. Now only two remained. Growl and Lyra. The shape stood between them and the rest of the ship, blocking the path. Watching. Always watching. Lyra stepped closer to Rail. What do we do? She asked quietly. Rail did not answer right away. He looked at the shape, then at the empty space where his crew had been, then at the broken walls of his ship. Finally, he spoke. We stop running. Lyra looked at him. What? We stop acting like prey, he said, and start thinking. The communication panel lit up again. You are observing. Rail nodded slightly. Yes, he said. Now we are. The message paused, then changed. Observation is accepted. Lyra frowned. What does that mean? Rail stepped forward slowly. The shape did not move. You don't want noise, he said. You don't want chaos. No reply. You want control. The shape tilted slightly, like it was listening. Lyra whispered, Captain, be careful. Rail ignored her. If we are unauthorized, he said, then why show us this? Silence. Then, the voice returned. Not loud, not soft, perfectly calm. You are learning. Lyra's eyes widened. Learning, she said. Yes. The shape moved again. One step closer. Still no sound. You are seeing the system. Rail nodded slowly. And once we see it. A pause. Then, you are no longer required. The words felt colder than space. Lyra stepped back. That means once we understand, we die. Rail kept his eyes on the shape. Not die, he said quietly. Removed. The shape was now right in front of them, so close they could feel it. Not heat, not cold, something else. A pressure, like reality itself, was bending around it. Lyra's voice shook. What is that? Rail answered. It's not a guard. He looked deeper into the darkness of the figure. It's part of the system. The voice spoke one last time. You crossed the line. The lights went out. Completely. No flicker. No return. Only darkness. And in that darkness, the system continued. Silent. Perfect. Unstoppable. Darkness did not end. It stayed. Not like night. Not like space. This darkness felt controlled. Measured. Placed. Captain Rail stood still. He could not see Lyra. He could not see the shape. He could not even see his own hands. But he was not blind. He could feel. The air. The pressure. The presence. It was still there. Closer than before. Watching. Always watching. Lyra. Rail said quietly. No answer. Only silence. For a moment, he thought she was gone. Then, I'm here. Her voice came from somewhere close, but not clear. Not stable. Like her position was not fixed. Stay where you are. Rail said. I don't know where that is. She replied. The darkness seemed to shift. Not move. Shift. Like space itself was adjusting. Rail took a slow breath. Don't move, he said again. I'm not, Lyra said. But something is wrong. Rail knew. Everything was wrong. The ship was gone. Not broken. Not destroyed. Gone. They were not standing inside Virex 9 anymore. They were inside something else. The system. The voice came again. Clear. Calm. Human. You have reached final stage. Rail turned his head slightly. Final stage of what? No reply. Then, evaluation. Lyra spoke quickly. We are not enemies. We made a mistake. We can leave. Silence. Then, leaving is not part of process. Rail clenched his jaw. What is the process? A pause. Then, identification. The word stayed. Heavy. Cold. Rail understood something then. This was not random. This was not chaos. This was order. Perfect order. You are testing us, he said. The darkness did not answer, but did not deny. Lyra whispered. Testing for what? Rail spoke slowly. For threat. The voice returned. Correct. The word echoed. Not loud, but deep. Lyra felt her chest tighten. So, if we are not a threat, you let us go. Silence. Then, incorrect. The answer came fast. Clear. Final. Rail nodded slightly, because entry itself is the threat. Correct. The system did not change tone, did not show emotion, just truth. Simple. Cold. Lyra's voice dropped. Then no one ever leaves. No reply came, because none was needed. They already knew. Rail took a step forward, or at least, he tried. The ground did not feel real, like he was walking on something that could disappear any second. What happens now, he asked. The answer came instantly. Resolution. The darkness shifted again. This time it formed something. Not a shape, not a figure. Something else. A space. A boundary inside the darkness. A place where something could exist. And inside that space, light. Small. Soft. Faint. Rail stared at it. What is that? Interface. Lyra whispered. Interface with what? The light grew slightly. Not brighter, just clearer. And then, something appeared inside it. A face. Human. Calm. Expressionless. Not detailed. Not fully real. But enough. Enough to understand. The first true human presence they had seen. Rail did not speak right away. He studied it. The face did not move. Did not blink. Did not react. It simply looked at him. Then, it spoke. You have entered restricted space. The voice matched the one they had heard before. Perfect. Controlled. You have ignored boundary signals. Rail nodded slowly. Yes, you have continued forward after warning. Yes, you have failed to retreat. Yes, the face remained still. Then, state your purpose. Rail paused. For the first time, he did not have a clear answer. Mission, exploration, data, none of it mattered now. He looked at Lyra. Even in the darkness, he could feel her presence. Waiting, hoping. He turned back to the face. To understand, he said. The face did not react. Understanding was available before entry. Rail shook his head slightly. Not like this. A pause. Longer than before. Then, clarify. Rail spoke carefully. We heard stories. We saw data, but we did not believe it. The face remained still. So you came to prove it? Yes. And now, Rail took a breath. Now we understand. The silence that followed felt different. Not empty. Not cold. Measured. The system was processing. Evaluating. Lyra stepped slightly closer. We know the rule, she said. We will not return. We will not send signals. We will not speak of this. Rail did not stop her, because he knew. She was trying to survive. The face looked at her, then back at Rail. Your presence has already created data. Lyra's voice broke slightly, then erase it. The face did not answer. The light around it shifted. Slow. Controlled. Rail understood. This was not a negotiation. This was a system, and systems do not feel. They decide. You are not defending space. Rail said. You are managing it. The face stayed still. Correct. Rail nodded. Then manage this. The face did not move. Clarify. Rail stepped forward again. Closer to the light. Closer to the only human thing left. We are no longer a threat, he said. The answer came fast. You were a threat at entry. Not now. Timeline is not relevant. Lyra closed her eyes. That means it's already decided, she whispered. Rail did not argue, because he knew she was right. The system had already made its choice. The face spoke again. Resolution will proceed. The light began to shrink. Slowly, the space around them felt tighter, heavier, like the end was coming. Rail looked at Lyra. We were wrong, he said quietly. She nodded. Yes. He looked back at the face. Humans are not hiding, he said. They are controlling everything. The face did not react, but the silence confirmed it. The galaxy was not free. not where humans existed. The voice spoke one last time. You have reached understanding. The light dimmed. You are no longer required. The darkness moved. Not fast, not slow. Perfect speed, perfect control. Lyra reached for Rail. Her hand found his. Cold, shaking. We tried, she said softly. Rail squeezed her hand. We crossed the line. The darkness closed in. No pain, no sound, no fear now. Just ending. The last thing Captain Rail saw was the human face. Calm, still, unchanged. And then, nothing remained. Nothing remained. Not the ship, not the crew, not even the space where they had been. The region returned to silence. Perfect silence. No sound, no signal, no trace. Where Virex 9 once existed, there was only empty space again. But not normal space. Controlled space. Calm, still, watching, far away from that region, in a safer part of the galaxy. Another ship moved slowly through the dark. It was larger than Virex 9, stronger, better equipped. The exploration vessel Ardent Reach carried a full crew, advanced systems, and long-range scanners. Its mission was simple: chart unknown regions and report unusual activity. Captain Elanvar stood at the main screen, reviewing data. Status report, she said. Course stable, the navigator replied. All systems normal. Any updates on the missing scout vessel? She asked. The communication officer checked the logs. Last signal from Virex 9 ended abruptly, he said. No distress call. No debris field. No trace. Elin narrowed her eyes. Another silent loss, she said. It was not the first time. Ships had gone missing before. Always in the same direction. Always with the same pattern. Entry. Silence. Nothing. She turned to the science officer. Scanned the region ahead. The officer nodded and activated the sensors. A deep scan pulse moved forward. Seconds passed. Then, reading returned, he said. And, Elin asked. The officer hesitated. Nothing. Elin frowned. Nothing. No ships. No signals. No energy. That's not possible, the engineer said. There is always background noise. Not here, the science officer replied quietly. Elin stepped closer to the screen. The space ahead looked normal. Stars, darkness, distance. But something felt wrong. Too clean. Too empty. Zoom in, she ordered. The display adjusted. Closer view. Still nothing. Run another scan, she said. They did. Same result. Nothing. The silence in the room grew. Elin crossed her arms. Mark this location, she said. The navigator entered the coordinates. A small symbol appeared on the map. A warning marker. Label it, she added. The navigator paused. What should I write? Elin looked at the empty space ahead. For a moment, she did not speak. Then she said quietly, Unknown boundary. The crew exchanged looks. Should we proceed? The navigator asked. Elin did not answer right away. She studied the data again. The missing ship. The empty scans. The perfect silence. Something about it felt wrong. Not dangerous in a normal way. Worse. Controlled. Reduce speed, she said. The engines softened. The ship slowed. Maintain distance, she added. Yes, Captain. The vessel drifted closer to the edge. Slow. Careful. Watching. Inside the ship, a junior officer named Kara sat at a side console. She had been quiet the whole time, reviewing old records. Now she spoke. Captain, I found something. Elin turned. What is it? Kara brought up a file. Old. Fragmented. Recovered from lost transmissions. Multiple ships reported the same thing before they disappeared, Kara said. Which is? Elin asked. Kara hesitated. Silence, she said. Total silence. The room became still. That's not enough, the engineer said. There's more, Kara replied. She opened another file. Audio. Broken. Weak. The last recorded message from a lost vessel. Elin nodded. Play it. The room filled with static. Then, a voice. Faint. Turn back. The audio cut. Silence followed. Elin's face tightened. That's not a distress call, she said. No, Kara agreed. It sounds like a warning. The science officer looked at the scan again. Captain, I don't think this is natural. Elin nodded slowly. I know. She stepped closer to the main screen. The stars ahead looked normal, but now she saw it. A line. Not visible, not marked, but felt. A boundary. Stop the ship, she said. The navigator froze. Stop. Yes. The engines powered down. The ship drifted. Right at the edge. No further. The crew waited. Nothing happened. No flicker. No signal. No warning. Just silence. Kara leaned forward. It looks safe, she said. Elin shook her head. No. How can you be sure? Kara asked. Elin pointed at the screen. Because it's too quiet. The science officer nodded. She's right. Even empty space has noise. This has none. Elin turned to the crew. We do not cross this point. The navigator relaxed slightly. Understood. Kara looked unsure. But what if the lost ships were wrong? She asked. What if there is something valuable inside? Elin looked at her. Then it's not worth it. Silence followed. Time passed. Minutes. Then, the ship's communication system made a soft sound. A single click. Everyone froze. Did you hear that? The operator asked. Yes, Elin said. Check the source. The operator worked fast. No incoming signal detected. Then what was that? I don't know. The panel flickered once, then went dark. The crew looked at each other, uneasy. Elin kept her voice calm. Stay focused. Another click, this time louder. The screen flickered again. Kara leaned back. Captain, something is trying to connect. Lock it, Elin ordered. The operator activated the shield. Connection denied. The system returned to normal. The click stopped. Silence again. But now, it felt different. Not empty. Not safe. Watching. Elin stepped back from the screen. Mark this region as restricted, she said. The navigator updated the map. The warning symbol changed. More visible. More serious. Send report to command, she added. The communication officer nodded. Message ready. Elin paused, then spoke clearly. Include this line. The officer waited. Elin looked at the dark space ahead, then said, No one enters human space. The officer typed it. Add this, she continued, and lives to tell it. The message was sent. Signal traveled away from the boundary, back to safe space, back to the known galaxy. The ship turned. Slow, careful, moving away from the edge. As distance grew, the feeling changed. The pressure lifted. The silence became normal again. Stars felt real. Space felt free. Kara let out a breath. We made the right choice, she said. Elin nodded. Yes. Kara looked back at the map, at the marked boundary. What do you think is inside? She asked. Elin did not answer right away. Then she said, something that doesn't need to be seen. The ship moved further away. The boundary grew smaller, less important, less real, until it was gone. Far behind them, the region stayed the same. Silent, perfect, controlled, watching, always watching. And deep inside that silence, the system remained active, waiting for the next one who would ignore the rule, who would cross the line, who would enter human space, and never return.